We'll give it a second for everyone to hop on and go live. Yeah, that's right. It's March. Sunday. March 22nd. That's the time. That's the day. It's March 22nd.
That's the time.
And welcome to Drawn to Fantasy with Angela DiTerlizzi and her husband, Tony. Thank you guys for tuning in.
That was loud.
Hey, Matt Mills. Hello from Kansas City. Hello from Amherst,
Dorothy
Massachusetts.
Gribbin.
Wow. Hey, Dorothy.
How are you holding up, Dorothy? Two little ones at home.
I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to Dorothy Gribbin, who is our copy editor for most all of my books. If you want to remark on how amazing my punctuation and grammar is, it's really due to Dorothy Gribbin. Hey, Dorothy, I hope you're doing well. Hi to everybody who has hopped on, and I hope everybody's doing well. You know what I was thinking about, Ange, this morning? I'm like, wow, what's this going to be like when you're like, hey, it's June 30th.
Oh, don't say that.
No?
No.
Okay. It'll be a different world then?
Yes,
Golly. I hope we're in spacesuits by then and flying cars.
Flying
cars and bubbles. If you missed yesterday was kind of a crazy day. We did two live things. We started out in the morning. Ange had said, Tony, you need to come up with a title, which here it was. This was some of our very first ideas for the title. And for this live thing that we're doing now that is starting to form into a thing. I want to say a podcast with drawing, because we have a banter.
We do. It's true.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just our life.
It's just our life. We need someone to do like the news at the top of the hour and a little weather and
nice.
All those things, and it'll be complete.
I could do that. I could start off with it's 37 degrees and sunny here in Amherst, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's right. It is actually beautiful out today.
What's the weather where you are?
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, we started with a logo that we kind of doodled. I'm not going to show you all the 9,000 logos. This was after, of course, I'd done a toilet paper run at Whole Foods. I refined the logo a little bit. We talked about the lettering, and we're going to try to find a cool font. We have this hanging sign thing that we're going to look into. And then we talked about doing this, the digital aspect of this, which we're still going to do. We are going to get there. I did a little bit of digital work to prep for today. As you can see, I took the sketch. I scanned it in the computer. Here it is scanned in, slightly enlarged. So here's the original sketch. Here it is scanned in. All I did was draw some circles and some lines. That's really, honestly, that's all I did, guys. I drew some circles and lines so I can have some guidelines. Divided the circle evenly right down the middle. And I'm not even going to touch the lettering today. What I'm going to focus on is the drawing of Graham. If you don't know who Graham is, he's the dragon who is Kenny Rabbit's best friend in Kenny and the Dragon. Available in fine bookstores and online everywhere. And a beautiful audiobook, I might add, Ange. Read by...
Oh my gosh, I'm brain farting.
Alan...
Why am I brain farting on this?
Wow, that's good. Well, maybe someone will fill us in.
He
was in the X-Men movies.
He was?
Alan Cummings.
Yes,
Alan Cummings. Alan Cummings.
He was a star of Broadway and screen?
Yes, star of Broadway and screen. So you can see I blew it up a little bit here, then I blew it up even bigger here. Nice size. This is the size I'm going to do it. And I've already traced it onto Bristol board. See that, how I did that? It goes a little quicker than that, but there it is. It's ready to be inked. And
thank you guys for joining us today, by the way.
On a Sunday. Yes, Ange, you and I were unsure whether we were going to be even doing this on the weekend, but we felt like, why not? I'd be working anyway. This is actually what I'd be doing. Even if we had it Monday, this is what I would have been drawing today, was this. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to ink it, but it's going to be inked a little differently. This is going to be a graphic, so it needs to read a little simpler than pen drawing. And so I'm going to ink this one with a brush, and I'm going to ink it with very clean and bold lines. I'm going to try a hand-drawn circle so it feels very handmade-y. And if that looks terrible, which it very well might, then I'll just remove it in the computer and use a computer-drawn
It's already looking like it's getting thinner there.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the charm. That's charm, Ange. That's
okay. That's a brand of charm.
that is
All your own.
that is it. I've got Graham. I think I've got the pupil right where he's looking at our viewer. Well, hopefully I'll.
Hello to everybody. New York, Tennessee, Phoenix, Arizona.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
So
Kansas City, Missouri.
We've got a couple. So we were going to do this. We were going to do a share my computer screen, and I was going to be work in Photoshop today to kind of show you how I do the designing aspect of this, and I do plan on doing that. My loyal watcher and incredibly talented Dave Peterson actually uses the streaming software that's required. And apparently Facebook will not let you just share a desktop for Facebook Live. You have to download a third-party streamer software to do it, which I downloaded last night and started fiddling with, and then went, you know what, no, I'm going to have to watch a YouTube video on how to do this. But Dave Peterson has offered to help me. Now, if you don't know Dave Peterson, you know what? You need to.
He's on right now.
He's on right now. Dave is a terrific graphic novelist. He's done some amazing comics. Mouse Guard, Sophia and I have read, we love. If you love fantasy, if you love mice and other rodents who are totally cool and awesome in a fantasy world, this is the book for you. And he's done many of these books, so check out Dave Peterson. He's always drawing live as well. So Dave, thank you for the offer to help me figure it out. Wanted to give you a special shout out today for always participating.
I have a question for you.
Quest? Andrew's going to quest.
See that part of his chest near his arm there?
This?
On the sketch, no, up there, yeah.
Here.
It's rounder, and then you kind of went in with...
You want it more? You want this more round, like a
Yeah, thank you.
that shape?
Thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome. Any other tweaks before I start inking? I think this is about it. You can see I've kind of given myself some possible. These are going to be solid black areas probably. I'm breaking the circle, I think, creatively. I feel pretty good. And listen, worst case scenario, if I really mess something up, I can either A, white it out, or B, fix it in the computer. That's kind of the I'm going to draw maybe the other wing. Although, you know, the other wing would be all here, but that's too much, right?
I don't know, is it?
I don't know. Is that... I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah, I kind of don't feel like you need it.
I don't think I need it. I can just indicate it right here that it's there. There's the other wing, and it's...
You guys, if you're watching, feel free to share this stream as well.
As a fact, we've been thinking about that a little bit. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
I was reminded because I just saw that it says Dan shared this stream. So thank you for sharing. Dan.
All right, so we had been inking with ballpoint pens, but today we're going to ink with real ink, Ange. Now, I normally have inked with FW inks, and the reason we're not inking in FW ink today, and I do have a nice, lovely black India ink. The reason we're not going to use the FW ink is very simple. It's dry. I must not put the lid on right. And the darn thing dried out, so it's no good. Thankfully, I had a backup with some Higgins ink, which is also very good ink. And instead of dip pens, I'm going to use brushes to achieve what we need. These are very expensive high-end brushes by Princeton. They are available in packs of 5 and 10 and 20 at Michael's for probably $5 to $7 per pack. Why do I use cheap brushes? I use cheap brushes because I'm really brutal with my brushes. I'm not careful enough. And so I learned very quickly at a very young age that it's probably better off for me to use cheap brushes than good brushes.
How often do you ink with the brush? Dave Peterson was.
Not often. My preference is pens, either dip pens or
Those precise.
Or the precise Pilot books, Pilot pens. Thank you, Ange. So yes, normally not. Now, if you look closely, we've got different widths. So you can see, you can only imagine what kind of lines. This one's really the one for the inking work. See how long the hairs are here. It's meant to hold a lot of ink, so you can get a lot of line out of it. These guys are a little shorter. This is obviously going to be for detail. This is going to be for, the really thick bold lines around the outline.
Can you give me an example? Dave was asking what books are brush inked. Have you used it for books?
Yes, in the Beyond the Spiderweb books. Maybe if we have time at the end, Dave, I'll pull out an illustration from... I definitely was using it in the Beyond the Spiderweb books. I do have examples of it. To be honest with you, Dave, I was very nervous and scared of using solid blacks for many, many years. And so I shied away from it because I didn't really fully understand it. And now, some years later, and really just by working with black ink and learning how to do solid black areas, have I gained a confidence to work in it. You see, I've swapped a piece of paper, Ange. I'm going to do a warm up because it's genuine. Now, to truth here, I didn't sit here and ink for an hour before we came online. I'm literally...
You use this brush when you were, a lot of times if you're doing logo design, like when you were doing the broken ornament, original hand lettering that you were playing with.
Yeah.
You used a brush on that, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right. We did that. Yeah. Now, I'm not drawing anything. I'm just moving the ink around. I just got to get, it's almost like driving a car, if anyone's watching is old enough to drive, but it's not a car you've driven before. So you just got to get a feel for it before you take it on the highway. So I'm literally just doing strokes. I'm varying my pressure and the pull away and all that stuff. There's a beauty to that skip. I love that real sketchy. This is the part of brush I love where it starts to dry out and you get this nice sketch. Anyway, I'm just getting a feel for it.
How much, I just have to ask this, how much ink are you loading or how far are you putting it into
I'm
the ink?
Dipping it in there. Here, I'll show you. I just dipped it in, so it went all the way up to the, you can see it's gone up to the, what's this thing called? It's got a name. Bezel, something like that for the brush. Yeah, something with the brush. And then here we're going to see the difference between, look at that, see the difference in the width. So, just thinking of how I'm going to do that circle. So I'm doing a test run of how I held my breath. I don't know if you guys could hear that. So when I'm doing a full sweep like this, I'm holding my breath. I probably shouldn't be. There's just this beautiful... Okay, here's the thing, Ange. It's a single... Thank you. Will Ferrell chimed in and said, it's the ferrule. There's just this beautiful little tiny waver. That's the stuff I love about hand-drawn things that I'm sure a computer can emulate, but until... So this is behind you and be like, ah! No. This will probably... Now, this is different than... the other day I was talking about when I sketch with those ballpoint pens, I'm doing this. It's a lot of this movement. But I'm thinking of this graphic stuff that we're going to have to do for the logo, and it needs to be a really clean line.
Jim Woolley says, I'm nervous watching the brushwork. I feel the same way. I'm sitting here and I'm nervous. It's like somebody on a tightrope. It's like, they're trained to do it. They've done it a bunch of times. Chances are they're not going to fall. But there is the possibility.
Okay, that was that guy.
And this, waver.
Last but not least, we're going to show this guy. Oh, we should have given numbers in case you really are a diehard for what we have. So this was a number 1 that I just used. This was a number 1. The first one was a number 3. And it's got a 10 over 0, which of course means that, if you had 10 of these, you'd have $0 because they're so expensive. No, I actually don't know what it means. I'm not technical that way. And now we're going to use this guy, which is a number 2. Yeah, 2. This guy will be the I don't know why he's a guy.
Are you wetting it first?
I did make sure the tip was a little wet, yeah. Okay. So it just grabs the ink a little better. All right, so here it is. I've loaded up. You can actually see it's right under the ferrule. And this guy should be the most versatile of the two. That's barely any pressure.
It's like draw an eye or something with that.
I will. Hold on, I gotta... And then here's a lot of pressure. Draw an eye.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you can see.
See how it skipped a little bit? It's your own little eye. Do a little more hatching. I don't know if this is what you had in mind, Ange, but just to kind of see what this guy can do. Now, there's a lot of tight, tiny detail, which I think I can do with this. Because what we wanted to do is, I'm drawing the eye of, not the eye of Soren, but about what the size of Graham's eye is in the logo. That's about what I got to do. So what I think a lot of people don't realize, or artists, or certainly took me a while, was that I have tons of this kind of stuff always to the side of the it's just getting warmed up. I have tons of this to the side. I can't tell you how many times I will draw a thing. I will test draw the thing before I go do it on the final, especially when using something like this, like a brush. Now, if I drew in brush all day long, I probably wouldn't need to do this, but I don't. All right, I'm going to go for it, Ange. I'm diving in, because you know what? The worst thing that can happen is I can mess it up.
Do you ever
That's
psych yourself out? Are you ever like,
all the time.
Gosh, I put too much pressure on it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but you know, the worst case scenario here is I mess it up. We either white it out, or worst case, we start over again. It's not that.
It's true. You've dripped ink on stuff.
Oh god, yeah, I've dripped ink on so many things. So here we go. I am gonna start. I think I'm gonna go with a really fine. Based on all those lines, I'm gonna go with this fine number little guy to do the eye. I'm gonna do the eye first. I always do the face and the eyes first on these kinds of things because. And you know what? Oh, good. You can see to the side here. You can see me testing the brush out before I even touch the paper. For this part, my head is going to go down in front of it because I've got to really see what I'm doing. So I'm even taking my glasses off. You can get to see the top of my head. But I need to get this part right. Because otherwise, it's a do-over.
So while you're drawing, I'm just going to, one of the things that we wanted to talk about, we wanted to get your feedback on it, guys, is we know we're doing this daily with Facebook Live, but what do you guys think about moving this over to YouTube? Are you feeling like, do you watch more stuff when it's on your social media, Facebook and Instagram, or would you be more apt to going over to YouTube? I know we can get a better picture over on YouTube, but we wanted to see what you guys thought about that. And if the quality mattered to you, if you wanted to see it higher res, which you would be able to do on YouTube.
Yeah, I feel like I watched a couple of these, and truth be told, I usually don't like watching myself either on camera or any. I don't like listening to my voice. I sound way more Forrest Gump-like than I realized when I listened to my voice. Anyway, I just realized that the picture quality is not great, and I've got a great phone, so we should be able to provide really high resolution here. And I keep telling Facebook to, at the end, when we archive these, it says, upload a high res file, which I do, but I can't tell by the quality that I'm seeing. So I'm wondering if moving this, the other thing I will tell you, Ange, is I am sharing, we probably have friends here from Instagram who follow me on Instagram, who follow me on Twitter, where I'm also sharing news of this. And I definitely have had people request for me to do an Instagram live, which, I could do, but then I just feel like one place, I don't need to do it all over the place. Let's just find one spot to do it. And what else am I going to do? Then I'm live for 2 hours or 3 hours, try to do all the various social outlets. So I don't know. Let us know what you think about the possibility of moving this whole thing. Now, the thing I will say, Ange, that I love the most in doing this is the fact that we have a captive core audience. People are here right now watching this. I mean, you can always go back and watch it later. But we can interact, which I think is like the coolest.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like you guys are all here with us. That I love.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that on YouTube. I think that.
So we'd have to somehow allow people to add comments and then address the comments maybe in the next post.
Yeah, that's a way. That's a way to do it. Yeah, we can like read through the comments.
Find. We like the interactivity.
Yeah. Very, very carefully doing this. Clean lines.
Came to visit.
It's coming up. Just
When
getting.
you get a chance, just lift it up so we can see the detail, maybe.
I certainly can do that.
Thank you. Oh, Pippin's laying right at your feet.
He is. I'm not. I'm actually standing today. I'm not sitting. I felt like for this, it's a little more. It's just easier for me. I'm at a good angle where I could get the phone perfectly over the art, and be able to see what I'm doing without the phone crashing into my forehead, which is what I've been kind of dealing with. Yeah, and you could probably take a photo of me standing here with Pippin. That'd be pretty meta, right? And post it in the comments.
The only thing is it doesn't let me post photos in the comments.
Oh.
For some reason,
when it's live?
Right.
Okay. Well, you can always take it and we can post it after.
That's true. I'm going to see. It won't let me.
Okay, good.
It won't let me. Let's see.
Here, I'll take a breather and let you see where I'm at. Kind of see where it's going. See, I'm just filling it in. Remember, this is just going to be a graphic online, so I'm probably going to. I'm feeling like it'll probably just be colored digitally too, so it's very flat. Kind of what I see. By using a thick brush like this, Ange, it keeps me from really going too nuts inking this thing. You know what I mean? I have to make decisions of like how much shading do I even bother doing, right? Because like right now, you see I'm just filling in his little spines on the back of his neck. It's good for me, actually. So I sometimes can overdo these things, and this is definitely keeping me from doing that.
The ink dries pretty quickly?
It does, but you can see I'm steering clear of it. I'm not trying to touch it for fear of smearing it.
Do you prefer ink or pen for lining things, or does it depend on the project? Leo Street asked.
Ink or pen? You mean like dip ink, like what I'm using now versus?
Well, yeah, I think it's ink like you're using now versus your regular pen.
I mean, I love. I mean, if I was using a dip pen, I'd be working at about the speed I'm working now. So you can see I can get a few lines down, then you stop, then you reload the brush or the pen, then you go back and you ink a little more, then you stop, and there's something very relaxing and harmonious about it, but it does take longer than when I'm using those Pilot Precise ballpoint pens.
Ooh, Would he be using a pencil or a feather plume?
Oh, wow, that's a really good catch. Did you catch that, Andrew?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just thought about that as I'm looking at it.
But does a feather plume say I'm writing a letter versus?
I know. I was wondering about that too. Like, what says drawn more?
Yeah,
Is
and
that
that's
you're
why
using a quill. I don't know. It'd be so kind of cool to. And it says drawn to fantasy. Do you then need to have a pencil? I don't know.
I feel like
is it more of a design?
I think who draws with a feather quill? Graham.
A dragon.
A dragon.
Maybe a phoenix feather.
Yes, phoenix core.
Hello, Michelle in Denmark.
Greetings.
Yeah, seriously.
That's a place we've never been. That'd be cool to go visit.
Eric Boucher.
No, Buchert. Did I say it right? I think it's Buchert. Buchert. Oh my God, it's Eric.
Bags with his wife. That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's very cool. Oh my God, it's Eric Buchert.
Is bag making like a normal thing you would normally do on a Sunday, or are you doing that because you're sequestered in your home? I'm curious to know what people are trying. You know, I know we're always like, oh my gosh, I'm too busy to do that. Like, now that you're not too busy to do stuff, what's everybody doing? Are you trying anything new? Hi, Jill from Alaska.
Jill from Alaska. Holy cow. That's a place I'd love to go visit. I bet it's beautiful up there.
Lisa Demont. I apologize for the pronunciations. Demont. D-A-M-A-N-T. Has drawn with a quill and taught students to do so as well. So, drawing with a quill, I think it could be a cool thing.
I'm torn. I think the pencil reads drawing more than any other implement. He doesn't even have a pen in his hand. I'm going to do it a pen. However, in Photoshop, we can draw a quill and then we can look and see. But my gut is telling me...
Hold on, I'm searching Google Images. I'm just curious.
Oh, you are. You're
I
curious.
am. You could have, yeah, because he would have his little ink. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of ironic because you are using dipped ink right now.
Yeah, but I'm thinking as a graphic, what do we think of when we think of drawing? What tool what tool immediately comes to our 21st century mind?
No, but he's a dragon. How tiny would that pen be?
It's a giant. It's one of those. It's this. He's drawing. He's drawing with this, Ange. That's what he's drawing
What's
with.
on that one? Oh, it's Walt Disney World Vintage.
Yes, vintage with a tiny tassel.
Yeah, but guess what's right next to that too?
Okay, well, to be fair, what's next to it is a ostrich, which he definitely would use. I'm not sure what that's
Peacock
about,
feather.
but yes. Oh yeah, peacock feather.
All right, do you
Touche.
scan?
Touche.
Katrina would like to know, do you scan and digitize before painting and coloring, or is the Pilot Precise or the ink that you're using waterproof?
This ink is waterproof that I'm using right now. The Pilot Precises are ish. I wouldn't get them wet. I think they'll smear. I think they kind of bleed out a little bit.
If you could paint on this?
I could, yeah. I won't.
Watercolor?
No, but I won't. Yeah, I could have done it. I could do a watercolor on it.
Pencil with
I'm going to color it digitally, though. I think I'm going to just do flat color on it, so it reads very graphic. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. We may look at it and it may not work.
Eric Bucher
Eric Baker
says they have an Etsy store where they sell handmade dice bags.
Oh, that's cool.
So this isn't an uncommon thing for us to do on the weekends. Eric, maybe you want to do a little trade for a little. We do have our gaming party. We could do a little trade for a homemade dice bag.
Listen, Eric, I got to tell you, Ange, Eric Boucher Burkert has been tuning in like every day. I think this is the perfect time to I'm going to take a quick inking break for a second, and let's talk a little bit about the other thing we want to talk about today. So tomorrow for us is garbage day, right? The garbage is going to come at like crack of dawn. They always come, so I have to take the garbage out at night, and also the recyclables. I'm filling the recycle bin, and what's the recycle bin full of, Ange? It's full of everything I did this week, right? Here's the printout of the forager. Here's the reference of the forager. Here's the giant life size of the forager. So you know what? I thought maybe some of our viewers would actually want this garbage that I was going to throw away.
Recyclables. Treasures.
Yes.
Recyclable treasures.
So what I'm thinking, Eric, because you have tuned in every day and let us basically
Butcher your name.
harass you online, I'm going to send this to you. Please send me a direct message with your mailing address. I will also include a nice, clean printout that I will sign and personalize to you. And I think we should do this every week, Ange. We should send out things. It will be folded up. I'm not going to lie to you, Eric. I'm not going to put it in a flat mailer or a tube. That thing will cost me way too much. I'm literally going to fold it up and put it in an envelope. But you know what?
No, we might have a padded one you can throw it in.
Maybe a padded envelope. We'll see what we can do. But, let's just do it. Let's do it every week. So I've got this one. Ange, I picked Eric for the Forger. However, if you tuned in last night, you saw that I did my version of a classic D&D goblin, which I posted today. Here's the sketch that I used to trace from. Here's the reference that I used of a Morningstar. And then here's a printout of the final. So, Ange, you can pick who gets this. And I do have some extra printouts if you want to pick. And, Ange...
please make fun of my name.
Well, it is... I mean, dude,
Dean
your real name is
Baxendale?
Dean Baxendale? That's
cool.
Tell me you are an actor, an action hero,
Baxendale.
or, yes, you're a newscaster. And Dean Baxendale with sports.
Exactly. Let's go to Dean.
Let's go to Dean, who's out on the front line.
Congrats, Eric.
How's the COVID virus moving along?
Okay,
Dean?
so here's the thing. Let's do this. So I think we could start by please share this stream that you're watching it, or that would be a starter.
How do we know that they shared it?
Because it'll say that it was shared, and then I can look and see who shared it.
To tag us?
Yeah, or you can tag us if you want. And then
the more
we'll do a giveaway. We'll give away stuff
every week. We're going to give it away.
You guys need some day brightening. We are here for you.
We're going to do it. It would have gone in recycle. Now it's going to go in your recycling bin.
Exactly. Or on eBay.
Or on eBay, where you can
eBay
win
store.
hundreds, if not thousands, of pennies in selling signed printouts. But you know what?
So
we're all in it together.
Share that you're watching this feed. We'll start with that.
Let's start with that. Like, hey, I've been tuning in to Tony DiTerlizzi and his wife. And if you have not been watching Drawn to Fantasy, I don't know what you've been doing, but you're really missing out.
I will also say, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should, because I did an Instagram story of Tony making chicken cutlets with me last night. So you're used to seeing his hands getting in the ink, but wait till you see him in the egg wash.
Egg wash.
And I'm just Angela DiTerlizzi on Instagram.
Yes.
It's all one word.
Yes. Now, listen.
Thanks for sharing, David May.
Thank you. And, okay, full transparency. Why do we care? Right, Ange? Like, why do we care if we have more followers or more Instagram or more this? Frankly, to be completely honest, obviously we love sharing stuff. We're doing it now. I do it all the time, so there's nothing new. But it helps when we do need to sell stuff, like, our books are out in stores, or I'm getting ready to go on tour. Social media is the way that we do that. And so it's a very community. It's not just about us making a living, because often, if you followed me long enough, especially when I'm on tour and Ange is on tour, you know that after we've been to a bookstore, we're like, hey, visit this bookstore. We signed all their stock. They ship worldwide. You can get a signed book. And so it helps a lot of people. This isn't about us just helping ourselves. It's really about creating more awareness. So, I'm not complaining with the amount of people who follow me. I'm very, very happy and touched. And especially knowing that most of these fans, Ange, have been following us since the very beginning, since my Dungeons and Dragons days. But it's always good to have new friends. I can't tell you how many times I get an email from someone who's like, I didn't even know you were online. I love Spiderwick, or, I love Dungeons and Dragons. So,
well, Dave Peterson just said it. No one wants to share their passion to an empty room, and the more the merrier.
The more the merrier, yeah.
So, absolutely.
It's pencil. Sorry. We'll try the feather plume virtually in Photoshop, and we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it looks. But right now, I'm going with pencil.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. I'm thinking no scales on the wings. Like that would be overkill, right? Because he's gonna be like on someone's phone. Real
No, I
small.
don't think you should do scales.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm almost feeling bad that I even. Well, we can always white them out if they're too much. I'm gonna do a little bit of his other wing here. Kind of a little piece of
Hello,
it.
Christina, Cannon, Menard.
All right, and now I'm gonna try.
Say hi to the boys for us.
I'm going to try to do the borders, Ange. Let's see. I'm going to do it freehand. I'm not going to use rulers. I want it to be kind of, like I said, hand-drawn.
Thank you, Lisa. Lisa says, I don't know if you realize how good it is, especially at this moment. This is brightness in dark times. That's why we're here.
That's why we're doing it.
And it's brightness for us.
So much. You guys I don't think you realize that we're not like, oh God, I got to do the thing. It's like, oh my God, are you ready? Let's go. I'm ready. Should we start?
Like
Even
in
today.
the morning, it feels too. It's like, oh, let's get ready. We're gonna get showered, get cleaned up. Like right now, we're both, dressed in our clothes. We're cleaned up.
Yep. We literally too. Just so we're literally making notes. See that, Dave Peterson? It wasn't just on the fly. We're making notes about what to talk about so that we actually kind of have a little bit of a plan, but it's still loosey-goosey. All right. I'm going to try this, Ange. Let's see how it goes. Well, wait, hold on. Before I do that.
Can you bring it up? Have you showed it
Yeah,
closely?
look up close.
Like, how close can you get?
Let me try. I'm going to try tapping the phone to see if it'll...
Focus?
Yeah. Oh, it kind of does. You can see it's not... I'm really psyched about that hand. I looked at my hand and got that drawing. There we go. All right. So... I'm going to, watch this, Ange. I'm going to put this, it should be pretty dry. I just want to see, like, the width. Oh, see, I let the paintbrush dried. The ink dried on the...
Oh, yeah. So you
to
gotta read
wet it. Yeah, just wet it. There it goes.
Phil Howard is holding his breath while you're doing that.
So I'm thinking this. I can do this. It's a little thinner. I can go a little heavy. I feel like that's the weight right there.
Duncan Martin, getting the motivation to be a human has been the hardest part.
Okay,
Having a scheduled thing must help immensely. It's true.
It is.
Because then, once we know, okay, we're doing this at 1 p.m., so we start thinking about what are we doing before this? What are we doing after this? And that really helps just for us, I think, building a routine and putting a schedule in place for the day. That looks good.
Not bad. Again, if it doesn't work, we'll white it out or we'll obliterate it in Photoshop and draw a perfectly straight one. But there is something to, in our perfectly clean world, well, not so clean right now, but normally computerized world, there is...
No, it's getting desanitized.
Yeah. There is something to it being hand done.
Mm-hmm. I love that it's hand done. I love that, it's not just digital. It's not something you can hit delete by mistake and it goes away. Like, this thing exists now. It's a hard copy.
Mm-hmm. There's a little shadow over it, like his arm's over it. Okay, and now it gets really exciting, Ange.
It is?
Yeah, I'm going to try the circle.
What are you going to do?
Well, first of all, I'm actually going to hit it with a hairdryer. What I don't want to do is smear it. By the way, if you look back, we talked about different types of Bristol board. There's vellum and there's smooth. Smooth was for inking, so there's not much tooth to this. In other words, it's not very, there's not a lot of texture to it. And that keeps it from bleeding. So if I was on the other kind of board, and I can show you what it does, this line would be bleeding out a little bit.
Ella Manor, La Pointe. Your videos are life support in these crazy times. A reminder of how important it is to be creative. And she's so grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Okay.
Damon said, I've smeared so much ink lately, never thought of hairdryer.
Hairdryer.
Is that this? How long have you had that hairdryer? I feel like you've had that hairdryer for a very long time.
That's a vintage 1980s hairdryer. I don't know if you
Is
know.
that the one you had when we started going out?
Yeah, I've had it for a long time.
By the way, we started going out 27 years ago, I should mention.
Yeah, I had it.
It's gotta be like the Conair Plus.
Yeah. I'm sure you could Google the model and it'll tell you what year it was manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
Give you an exact. I just think I went and bought a compact.
I heard the hairdryer and had to stop what I was doing. Let's see. Have you ever met the Dragon Master John Howe of Lord of the Rings?
Oh, that's a great question. No, I have not. I'm very familiar with his work. Love Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I've not met him, nor have I met Alan Lee. I've talked to Alan Lee online, like I've emailed back and forth with him before. He's on Facebook. I want to say John Howe is too, but I could be wrong. And Gushed. Such a huge fan of Alan Lee's work before even he started Lord of the Rings.
I think we've definitely gotten an invitation to go visit the Frouds in England, and if we did, we'd probably get a chance to meet Alan Lee, which would be super cool too.
Yes.
Let's see. Leo Street says, what brand of ink do you recommend for someone who wants to try out brush inking?
I'm using Higgins. I showed it earlier. I can show it after I'm done. I can't show it right now just because the cap's off. But I'm using Higgins ink right now, which is nice, very liquidy. Some inks are thicker. I also love an ink wash, which I haven't done one of those in a long time. We used to do a lot of that in school. I'm not doing a clean stroke on this, Ange. I changed, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm kind of changing. I feel like if I do I'll try it.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
That was good.
Not bad. Well, this will get cleaned up regardless. Whether...
Whoa, that's an intense question.
What
are your top 10 animation films?
Whoa, that's
Miyazaki. Pixar.
Pixar, Miyazaki, Disney. Boy, that is a tough question because they all have had different.
We love Spirited Away.
Yeah, I do. Well, but Nausicaa.
Yeah, you love Nausicaa.
I saw Nausicaa and Totoro in the 80s. Nausicaa was called like Valley of the Wind or something. It was called something else before it was called Nausicaa when it was first dubbed and released in the United States. And if you've read my Wandla books, there is a clear inspiration of Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki.
It's Ghibli, right?
Is it Ghibli? I think it's Ghibli. It's like a plane. It's an Italian plane. I don't remember how. Any of our friends from Italy watching, they can correct me. So I would actually say of all the Miyazaki films, I love pretty much all of them. I mean, we own all of them. But I have to keep going back to Nausicaa only because it's one of those things, Ange, it came at that time in my life that really had a deep impact.
Is it Nausicaa Valley of the Wind?
Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, I think, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. And I could even be saying her name incorrectly. For Disney, gosh, there's so many phases of Disney Studios that... Okay, so, but I'm going to be doing this, so I might as well explain. So I'm going to do... The light is coming this way in this illustration. I knew it mentally. Sometimes I draw a little X so I know where the light's coming from to remind me. But how do I? So this is why it's causing shadows here, here, and under. So and here you kind of see the light's hitting it. It's causing shadows. So what I'm going to do, Ange, is I'm going to add a little weight to the line. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to, like his beard here, I'm just going to thicken that part that's away from the light. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see it. But what about, like, with those things
And
on
under
the
his
back of
eyebrows.
head? Would that be have any shadows there?
I think they'd be almost black.
I know.
But I'm reluctant to fully blacken them
I
in
agree.
because we could do it on the computer. And I think we just make them a dark color.
Yes, I agree with that.
Even his wing, like this
I
wing
agree.
would be totally
yeah,
black.
Don't start.
I mean, you could do this part of the wing black.
or you could just do it with tone on tone and just go with
Let me
the
just see.
darker.
I'll make it black. You know what?
Gosh, freaking me out.
I see a river and I want to paint it.
You know what this reminds me of Bill Stout. You darkened that whole thing?
Yeah, that's the other
my
wing. Did I do it? Did I mess it up? Oh wait, we didn't finish the animated things. Let me see. This happens. We get sidetracked.
Oh, Rankin and Bass favorites.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
we
definitely.
love
Rankin
them.
and Bass is a big one, right? Especially The Hobbit and The Last Unicorn. And then obviously I love the Christmas stuff like everybody else. But for someone my age, and I'm 50, growing up on that Rankin and Bass Hobbit, I mean, you can see it in everything. The work I did for Dungeons and Dragons and the work I still do today for my own pleasure. So yeah, definitely that. And I love The Last Unicorn. I thought it was just cool. Disney stuff. The Disney stuff that I like the most is the late 1960s and early 70s. So like Robin Hood, 101 Dalmatians. I know I'm missing a big one here in that era. Jungle Book, Aristocats. And the reason I like those, there's a very specific reason. They were cutting back in production costs. And one of the ways they cut back, Ange, was they eliminated one of the processes of animation, which is inking. So you have the animator pencils it on a piece of paper. We've probably seen it before. They lay a sheet of acetate over it. And then just like what I'm doing right now, an inker comes in with a much better hand than I have and inks the whole thing before it goes to coloring, right? And so you get these beautiful, delicate ink lines to outline, Jiminy Cricket or Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella or what have you. They eliminated that, and in the late 60s, they were just photocopying the drawing onto the acetate. And so you got this real sketchy quality to the animation. I just love that so much. It feels so alive. It really feels like a magical moving drawing. Anyway, love those from that era. I love some of the movies Disney's making now, but I mean, again, this is stuff that really would have had an influence on me. I feel like this whole thing. I'm just gonna make it black.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, because it's also that shape that it's creating, that circle's really nice.
Yeah. Pixar, I would say I tend towards the earlier Pixar stuff.
What'd you think about Klaus?
I loved Klaus. I was so excited for Klaus. I couldn't wait for Klaus to come out based on the trailers. I thought the story wasn't incredibly complicated. It's a story we'd seen before, but I did not care. It did not matter to me because the animation was so delightful. And the acting was terrific. The voice acting and the animated acting. They did
Lighting
such a
looks so
terrific...
cool.
Oh, God, the lighting and the coloring. I was glad to see it win some of the awards and accolades that it won. I'm also a fan of stop motion, and I do love Leica Studios stuff, which I would consider other animation as well. My question always is, why is it animated? And so I want to see something animated that really shows that it couldn't have been told, the story couldn't have been told any other way. All right, Ange, I think that's it for this part, for the inking. I'm going to show, in case
I have a
you're
question.
tuning in late,
And
this is
somebody
the
else
ink.
what about, like, would you see any of that line, like, right in the middle of those horns or not?
Which line do you want?
Like, between his two horns. Do you see any of that?
What do you mean, like the?
Yeah.
You could. It's such a tiny line. I think we're going to want to be removing lines here. I'm going to give it a second, and I'm going to hit it with the eraser, and then I think we're going to be removing lines.
Angel Shandy. I'll wait till then blow dry.
Got to get his beautiful. All right, I think that's dry enough. I'm gonna again, like everything else, I'm gonna test it so I don't smear the ink, but I think we're in good shape, Ange.
Angel said that The Last Unicorn was her favorite since she was little, and they did a limited screening a few years ago, and Peter Beagle toured to some of them. She got to meet him and got 2 books signed.
We did the exact same thing.
Yep.
Our daughter.
Not sure where you saw him, but we saw him here in
He toured the entire country, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was an ongoing tour. Little known fact, I actually did a cover and some illustrations in a Peter Beagle anthology, one of the first books I did in the late 1990s, called Giant Bones. And
we went to that. It was awesome. And Soph had done a drawing. She brought her sketchbook, and it had a bunch of unicorns in it. She showed it to him.
Yeah.
And he wrote some really kind things to her, which was super sweet.
Very sweet man. Very nice guy. Really, I've had that. Been kind of neat to be able to, when I have worked with other authors, to have those experiences where, we met Peter Beagle and got to talk to him and get to know him. And I still remember some of the phone calls I got to have with him while we worked on Giant Bones, and he gave me some really good advice, and his advice was this, and I carry it in my pocket to this day, and it has to do with fame and success. So I'm going to get the dates wrong, but essentially the gist of it is that The Last Unicorn was written, I want to say it's either his first book or like his second book. It came out in the late 1960s. And I was doing this Giant Bones book in the late 1990s, so 20, almost 30 years later. And it was still, he was known as Peter Beagle of Giant Bones fame, right? And I'm going to go back to some old reliables here. You can absolutely mix up the inks, and I'm going to be able to do some touching up with this ballpoint pen. I'm just going to go in and do some cleaning up. It's just quicker and easier. So Peter said to me that he felt that he had written books that were better than The Last Unicorn. He felt that he knew other authors who were better writers than he was, that never saw the fame that he saw for The Last Unicorn. And he used to resent The Last Unicorn for that, because he wasn't being acknowledged for the other work that he was creating that he felt was technically better than this one book that he had done. And then he realized as time went on that so many other authors never got A Last Unicorn, that he realized how amazing, how hard it was to capture that lightning in a bottle, and how fortunate he was that people still loved his book all these years later. And so he grew to become, accept the success of it and the support and love that he got for it, even if he never got it for his other books. And I've really carried that with me, because truth be told, when I finished Spiderwick, I thought every book I create is now going to sell like a Spiderwick book. And that is a ridiculous and completely insane way of looking at things. Yeah. Totally. You're setting yourself up for disappointment, thinking that way, that you're a book that sold millions of copies, that everything you now make is going to sell millions of copies. I'm just giving a little bit of touch up, just a little bit. I need there's a little bit of there I don't like. Mm-hmm. It's too... That's the noise.
That shadow's heavy that you just did, but...
Where? Under his eye?
Mm-hmm.
You think so?
By his nose, the one you by his nose.
Yeah, I need to break it up.
Yeah.
I need to go in there and I'm just kind of futzing with it. This is bothering me, this thing. I think I'm going to get rid of all this. I don't think you need it.
I agree with that.
I think just keep it white.
I agree.
I don't think you need it. Yeah, I think bye is right. I'm just going to get the little look on. Let me do that. Let me get in there with the now.
Can you bring this up to the camera for a minute?
I am going to bring it up because I'm going to do some white. I'm going to do a little different than I have been. So here he is. Ange thinks the bag under his eye. I made it a little too heavy and fiddled with his nose a little too much. I can't disagree with that. This little thing got kind of schmudgy. This looks strange and graphic and weird. I messed that up. So I'm going to do it a little different. We, you know, in the during the week, and we've been whiting out with this guy, the Mo Willems special. This is what he uses that he showed me when I was working on Diva and Flea with him.
And if you haven't had a chance to see, Mo Willems is doing some daily drawing during the weekdays, and he's posting those to his YouTube channel.
Yes.
And it was funny. Yesterday, Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jimmy Fallon had a big discussion about how their kids were all drawing Mo's drawings.
Pretty incredible.
Well, maybe you could draw Diva and Flea one day. That would
We
be
could
cool.
do that. All right, so I'm going to use this instead. I'm going to use this gloss enamel. It's a little finer
Hi, Micah.
because I'm going to brush it on. How little of it am I going to use? I'm really just going to use this bottle cap of it to brush it on. I'm going to
Brett,
use...
sorry you got bamboozled. He didn't think we were broadcasting until Monday, so we did have a change of heart.
We did. You know, to be honest, part of it was I was going to be working on this anyway over the weekend because Angie and I had come up with this plan to come up with a logo and a name for our little live things. And also, I noticed I had been put on some lists that people were like, hey, watch Tony D. He's drawing every day. Well, first thing, I'm going to just get rid of this. I don't think we need it. So here you go. It doesn't always go the way you think it's going to go. It never does. Now, I could do this on the computer, but I don't want to. I want the real thing to be fairly close. That's not to say this thing won't get some final nudges.
Kyle Patterson wants to know, hey, Tony.
Hey, Kyle Patterson.
Do you have a favorite dragon from books or movies?
Oh, that's a great question. First of all, we should point out that Kyle Patterson is also a terrific artist. I follow Kyle, I want to say I know for sure on Instagram, but also I think on Twitter's. Kyle, I love your stuff. Do I have a favorite dragon from books or movies? I mean, I love Dragon Slayer. I got to get back down on my knees. That's easier. Not on my knees, but...
You are. You're kneeling down in front of the drawing table.
Yeah, I want this to be just right. There we go. Oh, I like that much better. I'm also thinking that this shadow, I just want to break that shadow up a little bit. The reason I like this really thick acrylic, Ange, is I can usually white out in like one stroke of the brush.
What's the benefit in having those really long bristles on the brush?
Got a little bend, a little play.
Okay.
So if I hit it with just barely any pressure, I'm getting like a hairline, but if I really press down, I'm going to get a thicker line.
Gotcha.
I mean, again, all this could be done on the computer, but it's not the same.
Not the same.
It's not the same. For me.
It's not the same.
For an old dinosaur like me. Yeah, Dragon Slayer, I love that dragon, Kyle. I love the animated Smog from the Rankin and Bass Hobbit. I love, what's his name? The dragon in Dragon's Lair. He's an awesome design from the old video game.
He is an awesome design.
He had a weird name. I can't remember what it was. But the Dragon's Lair. And, of course, I was 12 or 13 when that...
Singe?
when that game came out, so everyone was ogling the titillating princess and that Princess Daphne. I remember her name.
I'm sure you do.
But I don't remember the dragon's name.
Do you have any fun, fancy dip pens you use for drawing?
No, I use a Hunts 102 nib. I use that for most everything, and then that's it. And I just go through them.
Yes, Elliot from Pete's Dragon.
Oh, yeah, he's a great dragon.
Cool.
I like the animated one again over the live action one. He's kind of weird looking.
Yeah, the live action ones.
They just put fur on it. It was just strange. It was a strange... I'm not above a fur. I mean, Graham has fur, but it just seemed like an odd choice. I'm going to fix this. I know this was driving you nuts, Ant, right there. A little bit better?
Yeah. What about the one by his to the left, like up above his nose there? That like...
That? This?
No, to the right and up.
That?
Yeah, that whole little area. Do you...
All of it?
Well, not the whole thing, but...
This?
Maybe break it. No, to the right of that.
This. I'm just going to white the whole thing out and redraw it. Actually, that's better.
It is better.
This I've over whited out, so I'm gonna have to go back in. I'm gonna go ahead and just go nuts, and then I'm gonna go back in and read.
How about Anne McCafferty's Pern Dragons?
Oh, that's a fan who's been following me for a while.
Maybe they didn't even know. Did you know that?
I illustrated the first Anne McCafferty Pern book, and I can't remember the name of it now.
Dragons of Pern?
No,
What was it? Oh, Dragonflight.
Dragonflight.
Boom.
Yes. I had some great designs for that dragon, but she did not like them. I was really excited. That's a great story. I don't know how we are on time. Oh, we're at the hour. I'll save that for the next one. I'll talk about Anne McCafferty and her Dragons of Pern, which I loved as a kid because I love the idea of burning thread falling from the sky and only the dragons could singe it.
Lift that up too.
Hold on. I gotta
Oh,
touch it.
a hawk just flew right by our window.
I thought that was a hawk or a vulture.
I don't know what that was, but it was pretty big.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
right,
it's a vulture.
So I've whited out all kinds of globby white out. Look at that. Look at how pretty that is. All that globby white out. You're never going to know once I scan it in. I'm going to touch his nose up a little bit. Hopefully I won't mess this up. I have definitely...
You're doing that now?
I'm not above inking,
Okay,
whiting out,
inking,
whiting out, and re-inking over and over again until it's like a thick layer.
Look,
Let me just...
This is the part.
Wait, hold on, Angela. Let me see if I can get
I'm going to
this.
show you because I'm going to just...
That's it. That's it. Nice and clean. That's what I wanted. Okay, what's the part?
Well, I'm going to show it to you because I want you to see it on here. So I'm curious. See how
She's showing me something.
heavy that area is right
Oh, how
there?
it's reading?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's the part.
Yeah, but let's put the color in.
Yeah.
She's talking about the bridge of his nose. Graham has this on his nose. He has a dark kind of bridge to his nose. I will, let's see once we get the color on him. If it looks too heavy, I'll just lasso it and get rid of it. I think that's it, Ange. I think our next stop is going to be to scan him in and start cleaning him up. Whoops, before he gets away. And then start playing with some type, which I'm super excited about. That's it for Sunday. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and hanging out with us on a Sunday. I hope you all are well and safe. We need a sign-out tag, Ange, that we say, be good and be good to yourself. Be good to one another. Be kind. You're going to have to work on that.
Well, like RuPaul says, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else?
That's right.
But we're going to come up with something else. We're going to
come up with
our
something
own
else.
thing.
Yes, if you don't...
wash your hands.
If you don't wash your hands, how do you expect anyone else to wash their hands? Thank you all for coming by. Like always, I will save this video. Shoot us a note. Eric Boucherou, Buchert, you me good. It's Eric Boucher. We're gonna send Eric some stuff. And you didn't pick. Who did you want to get the goblin stuff? Eric.
Well, I'm supposed to pick now?
Well, you don't have to pick now. You can always pick later. I mean, June Gallagher.
Here's the thing. I'm going to pick somebody. Oh, gosh. And then you said somebody's name, and then if I don't pick them, then I feel like a jerk.
Well, we have extra prints. So, Eric, this stuff's all coming to you. I'm going to wad it up in a giant, including, of course, my favorite reference, Eric. This guy.
You're getting that guy.
You're getting that guy. By the way, can I be weird? Well, not weird, but this is weird. My Facebook feed, after I showed this, had the ad for this horn right after this aired. This guy is on my face. I need to do a screenshot where it just literally showed up. There it is. They know they're listening. Drinking horn. Anyway, Ange will pick another couple of you, and we'll reach out to you. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. Let us know what you think, YouTube versus Facebook. Only because I want the quality and I want people to be able to watch no matter what social media they prefer. Thank you guys. Be well. Stay safe.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow.